So, it is time for an informal review. We don't do a lot of these, but this is a series where the third one is coming out. Not the last one. It is not the last one. Where the third one is coming out in just a few days. And we were super excited for it. I had read one, and I made her sort of read one.
She always does this to me. She's like, yeah, okay, the third book's coming out. And I automatically always think that it's the last one, and I'm like,
I just found out.
Yeah, my timing is awesome. I don't have to wait for any.
This is the second time it's happened, and I just found out, and the only reason I know is because we did a podcast on it. Anyways, the book we are talking about is The Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes.
So here we are yet again in another dark fantasy book.
Yeah, this one does not feel as dark as some of the ones we've read before, like The Young Elite, or Kingdom of Little Wounds, or Winterspell, or I'm gonna stop listing them off.
2014, the year of the dark fantasy novel.
This one, not so bad though. This one's just a little ruthless, I think, is what it is.
Hey, do you like these characters?
Anyways, there are a bunch of main characters in this book. It doesn't really follow one specific character. To just list them off briefly, we have Cleo, we have Magnus, we have Lucia, we have Jonas. Is that it?
Alexis.
No, he's not. We don't get his.
You get his perspective in the first
yeah,
book.
That's true.
You get his perspective.
Alexius.
So we have a world with 3 kingdoms with 3 kings. Well, 2 kings and a chief, but first main character, Cleo, she is the second daughter of the one king. She's not in line for the throne. Her older sister is in line for the throne. So she's kind of living like the young life of being like, I can do what I want, woo!
The only problem is that her sister is ill.
Very ill.
In the other kingdom, you have King Gauis, who is our main antagonist.
I want to slap you. I want to slap him so hard. He makes me so angry.
I think that's what he's supposed to do.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
I don't think you ever watched it, but Merlin.
No.
In season 2 of Merlin, Morgan Le Fay becomes evil. And this is expected because Morgan Le Fay, she's Arthur's main antagonist, But how do they do this? It's just kind of like, she says something to the king or Arthur, and then she kind of turns and looks at the camera and just gives you this, like, evil, like, smile, and you're just sitting there and you're like,
oh.
Guys, what? Guys, come on, guys. Gaius! Oh yes, I am a wonderful king. I'm gonna kill your family. And you're just like, come on! Yes, let's be in an alliance together. We'll totally split this kingdom 2 ways. We'll totally come out of this as equals. I'm gonna kill everyone. And you're just sitting there, and you're just like, guys! Hey, you know, to seal the deal, I want a blood sacrifice from you, King of Blood. Okay, I'm just gonna kill my bastard son who works as my, second. Yeah, just right here. That totally shows I'm gonna be loyal to you, and I'm not just gonna randomly turn around to you and cut your throat one day. So Gaius has 2 children. He has his younger daughter Lucia and the older son Magnus. Oh Magnus.
Generally, when you're saying Magnus, you're generally talking
I'm thinking
about
Magnus Bane. Like, so I'm having kind of like difficulties because Prince Magnus is very cold, and he's very like dark. And then there's Magnus Bane who throws sparkles at you. So Magnus has a problem though. Magnus is in love with his little sister.
She's also not technically his little sister. Let me be clear though, for the most of the book, he does not know that.
It's kind of, when you think, okay, back to the Mortal Instruments. So we had this situation in the Mortal Instruments again. We had Jason Clary. You go, I think it's 2 books, thinking that they're related, that they're brother and sister. This book, it, like, drops that hint pretty soon, that they are not,
You're
not related. So you're just kind of like, okay, it's not as creepy as you think it is, but I think she should have ridden the creepy train a little bit longer.
Yeah.
That's my That's my opinion.
I'm just over it. It's just not shocking to me anymore. It's not any fault of the authors. It's just I'm not shocked by it anymore.
It's a thing that happens a lot.
In YA these
Yeah,
days.
it's just like, I started reading this book yesterday and I'm just like, oh, incest. There you are again.
But there are a lot of things going on in this world. There are 3 kingdoms, like we said. Princess Cleo's kingdom is doing fairly well for itself. The second kingdom with the chief Basilius is not, I think it's called Pelagia, not doing very well at all. The harvest has just failed and they've been starving for years.
All they can really do is produce wine and they're selling it to the other country and it's pretty low price.
Yeah.
They're being ripped off.
The people just kind of accept that this is like their destiny to be poor and hungry, and they're not very uppity.
They worship their chief like a god,
Which
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And then in the third kingdom, it's pretty just cold.
Oh, it's like cold in every way, shape, and form. The weather is cold, the king is cold, everything sucks, the rules are really, 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 really heavy, and he's known as the King of Blood because he kills a lot of people. The majority of this book is just the conflict between all of our characters that are running around because everybody is somehow connected to everybody else, either by, you killed my boyfriend, you killed my brother, I want revenge on your kingdom, I want your kingdom for myself, everything is awesome, everything sucks, I'm really, really drunk all the time.
And I think it's one of those books where it's like supposed to be a big world, but everybody somehow manages to walk into each other.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? It's still
It's
a
fun.
lot of fun. The characters are all different, so they have a chance to like play off of each other.
But everyone is really attractive. And that drove me crazy. Because, like, you get, like, the inner workings, like, you're reading perspectives, right? So Cleo's like, yes, he wants to kill me, but I can't deny that he's attractive. Oh, my new bodyguard. He's really attractive. Oh, Princess Cleo. I may want to kill her, but she is really attractive. And I'm just like, what is going on? No, people!
Stop doing that.
I
It's like one of those things where the kiss will solve every problem you got. Just, you may hate each other. He may have killed, like, my whole family, but if I kiss him, I'm gonna fall in love with him. It always kind of bugs me. But you know what? It's pretty fun. Like, people have their changing alliances.
And some of the shifts in alliances are fairly believable because everybody wants their specific thing and they can line up with someone because, like, hey, we have a common goal. We're not friends, but
we can deal with each other.
We can deal with each other.
And you know that they're all going to come together for one common purpose. So magic has been fading from this world. There are characters called the Watchers, and they live in this kind of like immortal realm. Most of them are like 2,000 years old. The only way they can leave their realm is in the form of a hawk, and they are trying to find these things.
Elementia.
Yeah.
They're 4 stones, each representing...
No, they're called the Kindred.
Oh, the Elementary is the type of magic. The Kindred are the stones. They are these 4 stones that each represent a different type of magic, like earth, air, fire, water.
Problem is that they are enormously powerful, and if you were to get your hands on them, they'd probably drive you crazy and you'd become this evil psychopath. Which has happened in the past. There was this one sorceress who was able to handle them because she had a magic ring. The ring has disappeared. Along with these kindreds. So Gauis has decided that it is time for him to find these magical kindreds so he can become the most powerful person ever.
Yay!
His daughter Lucia is the key, though. She is the prophesied sorceress that is to come and help find the kindred. She was stolen from the cradle by a sorceress who kind of lives in the castle as his
Becomes
mistress.
his mistress.
And is
that whole arrangement just drove me crazy. Because, okay, this is, like, they have dinner together. Like, that blew my mind. Not in, like, a, whoa, changing my perspective on literature. No, this is a family. There's the king, there's the queen, there's the brother, there's the daughter. And then there's the mistress. Because, you know what, let's all have dinner together. Because we're such a big, happy, screwed-up family. And I'm just like, okay, queen lady...
But she, like, has no power because he'd be like, oh, you're not happy with my mistress, hey? There goes your neck. Like, you know this woman has no power.
Oh, man, Gaius, I just want to smack you. Make me so angry. And you know what? Everyone around him makes me angry because the other kings, right? They're like, guys, look at him. He's practically twirling his mustache and drooling over your kingdoms. Think about it. Come on.
So, I mean, each character has their own kind of motivations. Cleo goes on a search for a watcher who has like left the kingdom, now become mortal, and she's trying to find these magic seeds to cure her sister. That goes south mostly.
Theon is in love with her. Bodyguard wants to protect her. Aaron
is a moron. Let's be clear here.
Aaron starts this whole shit show.
He starts it by stabbing Jonas's brother over some wine, more or less.
He wants to pay a disgustingly low price for a bunch of wine. And then when the older brother Thomas like confronts him on it, he kills him because he was totally gonna kill me, guys.
Totally. And so that pisses the crap out of Jonas, obviously. He loved his brother, and so he blames Cleo mostly, and Aaron, and he's kind of on a mission to stab Aaron. So he ends up kind of teaming up with
the chief, and the chief gets alliance with Gauis, because where the chief's land, the land is in the middle of these two other countries, so Gauis needs the chief's permission to go through his land to get to the big wealthy nation so that they can deal with it, and if the chief agrees to like this alliance, then he has more men. So it's 2 against 1.
Only they're like, oh yes, let's make an alliance, and then he obviously kills the chief because he's like, I want it all. So Cleo's on her adventure. She falls in love with her bodyguard. Magnus is doing his father's bidding.
Yeah, that was probably the weakest part of the book for me. The Magnus Gaius relationship, because it's just like, I hate my father. Oh, all of a sudden, to forward the plot, I really want your approval, Dad. I'm just like, I understand that it needed to happen to get Magnus on the board, like the game, the playboard, like board game thing, but that was one of the weaker parts.
Yeah.
Like,
you'd think he'd be like more subversive. But
yeah, but he's not.
But
he loves his sister.
Yes, he does. Lucia wants nothing to do with Magnus's love, and when he finally does confess to her, she's like,
yeah, nobody. We ain't no Lannisters.
Lucia is trying to deal with her powers that have newly risen, and her father wants to use them, obviously, for his own game, to storm Cleo's castle. That was not a euphemism. Lucia does finally realize her powers. That's kind of the end of her story.
The entire book is basically building up to this siege on Cleo's castle. And things go down and stuff happens. Yeah. Setting up for the next book!
The next book is really good, where this book kind of feels like it is a setup for the next book. Like,
the next book, so far, I'm liking it a lot more.
Mm-hmm. She was just kind of like really putting her character in place and giving you everything you need to know, so that in the next book she can just be like, hey!
Let's do things!
Yay! So we are really excited to talk about the next one once she finishes it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will be doing an actual review of the third one, Gathering Darkness, in the new year.
Mm-hmm.
So, we will see you guys later.